It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. Do it nice and fresh and clean. And then it should work. What is it? It's new. Wow. That's new too. And mommy put the cover on it. Yeah. You happy? Yay for a healthy mommy. no, 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 no. What's here? What's here? Ah, bunny, 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 bunny. Hey. It's gonna be quick, quick. No, 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 no. Learning, learning. It's one drop. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. No, 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 no. What's it's okay. One drop. One drop. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. One drop. One drop. Loony, loony. It's okay. Okay. I know. It's been a lot. I know. I know. It's been a lot. I know. We have to do this, okay? Come on. One. Just one. Just one. No, no, no. Come on. Luna. Luna. No. Luna. Luna. No. Come on. One jump. Oh, I was almost there, Bootsy. I was almost there. Okay, okay. No more. Okay, okay, okay. Good job. Good job, Baba. No more. No more. It's okay. Good boy. Good boy. No, 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 no. Good job. How are we going to do this 8 times a day? Holy. Let me see. There's gonna be food in it. Just gonna wash it before. It's for you. Here. No, this, no, bunny, this side. No, here, this side.